The tweets about Jay-Z are brimful of criminal allegations, claiming he's a child predator without the use of the word allegedly, but also that he's been, quote, sacrificing children as a way of gaining and maintaining power, close quote. She also said, quote, the guy was hugging and humping on teens in broad daylight.
To say that Jay-Z was never friends with Harvey Weinstein, now that all of the videos of him calling Jay-Z his friend and sticking up for him, like it's...
You didn't know his age. I look back and see how old Jay-Z was. I think Jay-Z was born in like 69 or 67.
Anushka, if you wanted to be included in the Epstein file, you could have called the tip line and giving that information with your name in it involving Jay-Z, and they would have had that in. Until that investigative file goes to the next level, meaning there are possibly criminal charges, maybe a grand jury has been indicted, maybe he has been interviewed, maybe he's been investigated, there is nothing there. Just because this is the Epstein files, I want the world to understand this is nothing special. This happens every single day. Been doing this for 26 years. You would be shocked how many times we have clients, individuals, when I go and look at a criminal file.
When Jaguar Wright speaks, people tend to pay attention, as over the past few years she has become known for making bold allegations about influential figures in the music industry. In this instance, she spoke about Jay-Z and Beyoncé, describing them in a way that shifted the narrative from a powerful relationship built on love and strategy to something far more controversial, even using the term handler, which quickly sparked intense discussion online as clips spread and reactions divided between praise and criticism. It's important to note that these claims are unverified, with no court rulings or public documents supporting them, and representatives for Jay-Z and Beyoncé have previously denied similar accusations and described them as false. But in the fast-moving online environment, strong claims often circulate faster than verified facts, raising questions about what is being said, why it resonates with broader discussions about power and influence, and why some people are quick to suspect there may be more going on behind the scenes.
You didn't know his age. I look back and see how old Jay-Z was. I think Jay-Z was born in like 69 or 67. Something like the 67 right there. 69. I think he was born in 69. Beyonce, they say she was born in 81. You understand? But back then, in 81, when we was in the club together, 98, 99, she wasn't even supposed to be in the club, but she was in the club. It was Club Eugene's. And Jay was dating her. And at that time, if you look at Jay's age, he was about 30 years old. So, isn't she still somewhat a child? To me, she is. But I guess they protect child. That's how you protect a child. You know, dating her at the age of 30-some years old, and she's 17, 18 years old. If that's her true age. We really don't know her true age because Gabrielle Union said she went to junior high school with her, and Gabrielle Union is considered 6, 7 years older than Beyonce age that she getting. So we really don't know. You know what I'm saying? But to get back to your letter, I believe that the lawyer was doing what he did, and he threw shade at Puff in the interim of that by saying that all celebrities, you may think all celebrities are alike, you know what I'm saying? He know he's under this situation with Puff. But you got to look at this right here. They sent him a letter. Busby sent him a letter for 2 reasons, I believe. To open up the floodgate, just like that 1-800 bad boy number did, and people start calling in saying what Puff did to them. Because he already had that information from that person when they first did the suit against Puff. She made those allegations back then. So he sent him a letter saying, yo, listen to me, man. Hey, let's not let this go anywhere. Pay this off and we can walk away from it. And for what we know and what we've heard, that the girl information may not be totally right. Because I know in 2000, what she just said, and me being there and around, I know the atmosphere, I know the players, and I know how we moved and how we didn't move. You understand what I'm saying? So now, I know what she said about 2000 was wrong. I don't know, I'm not talking about what actually happened to her. I can't speak on what actually happened to her, but I can speak on the atmosphere that what she spoke on and how she got there. It wasn't happening. So now, to get back, they sent Jay this letter. Jay, nah, that ain't me. Guy with his lawyers and them and everything. His lawyers and them wrote that shit up. And now he presenting to the people like he wrote it. Everybody know that if he's stealing rhymes and he's stealing bars.
Jaguar Wright's main claim is that Jay-Z was never simply Bianca's husband or business partner, but rather acted as her handler, a term she defines as someone who controls, guides, and manages nearly every aspect of a person's life, including their career and public image. She alleges that Bianca's branding, music releases, interviews, and even personal decisions were carefully directed under this influence, framing the relationship as one built on control and power imbalance rather than romance. These are serious allegations and remain unproven, with no verified evidence showing that Bianca was controlled against her will. But the term handler itself carries strong implications of behind-the-scenes management and orchestration, and Wright links this idea to broader concerns she raises about the music industry, where young artists often enter contracts early and become closely tied to powerful figures and systems of influence.
Then Beyonce comes.
No, she was gonna be next. Go ahead.
And they walked her in. And then I watched Mary J. fawn over her. She stopped talking. Like this was an event to honor her. And all she could do was sing Beyonce's praises. And how, even though she was a younger artist than her, how she looked up to her and saw her as a role model for all the girls in the business. And how honored she was that Beyonce honored her with her presence to come while she was being honored by Vibe magazine, who she had appeared in more times at that moment than Beyonce. How crazy does that sound?
She was a dancer though. She might have been, you know.
You're being, imagine. I want you to think about what I just said. This is sitting here getting an honor for being the most, written about black woman in Vibe magazine for 10 years, and all you could talk about is the bitch that's coming behind you? You ain't talk about the producers. You didn't talk about the writers. You didn't talk about the team that helped you get there. Your whole fucking speech was about how great Beyonce is. That's when I knew she was picked. But when I think of that speech that day at that Vibe magazine event, and then I think of Lizzo and her acceptance speech when she won Album of the Year and beat Beyonce, the one award she can't win, maybe because you don't put good albums together, just nice videos and singles. But all that being said, didn't Lizzo do the same thing in the middle of her speech? She stopped her acceptance speech to say how she felt bad for winning Album of the Year because Beyonce didn't get it.
Deja vu.
Listen to me. We're talking Mary J. Blige, who came before Beyonce, singing her praises while she's being honored, forgets herself, talks about this. 20 years later, Lizzo winning the one Beyonce award she can't get. And she stops in the middle of that to say, I feel bad that I won your award.
She speaks as though she has observed these patterns over time, but observation is not the same as proof. Bianca, meanwhile, is widely recognized as a strong businesswoman who plays a major role in her own creative direction, with fans often pointing to her ownership stakes and executive-level decisions as evidence of independence. As a result, public opinion remains split. Some interpret these dynamics as control, while others see them as a collaborative partnership. And without clear evidence, the discussion ultimately remains a matter of interpretation rather than established fact.
If you go in there and you keyword search Sean Carter, you will find the inclusion, which is the real name for Jay-Z, of Jay-Z in the Epstein files. Now, you've just covered how wide-ranging they are, Sean, but I'm going to read out what is in there when you search up Sean Carter, okay? So it came through a tip line. Can you just explain what that is?
So what the FBI does, and most agencies do, when they're looking at somebody who is this large in a crime, they set up an FBI tip line. And I'll tell you, having spoke to the FBI before on certain cases, as much as we think they love these tip lines, they hate them, but they are a necessary tool to try to get investigation and get information. Because what happens in these tip lines is they get thousands of calls. They get fame seekers. They get individuals. And when they get these tips in, they send it out. They send a 1-800 number out. And they're like, if you have any information that might be related to, say, the Jeffrey Epstein case, please call our tip line. What ends up happening is those informations come in. There is a body of people who sit there just in a room. It could be 100 of agents who are listening to all these calls, and then they have to sift through them. There is an agency, a part of something that's called a taint team, and the team then breaks down the information first to see, and I'm trying to keep it simple, but what they do is they break down the first level of this is completely impossible. They're talking about astronauts, they're talking about aliens, they're talking about things of this nature. We immediately remove those. And then the second part of the taint team sends the next bit of information that could have any logical information to what they're looking for, and they investigate it. And that's all a tip line is.
So I'm going to read out what is in there, and it says date time received 7th of October 2019 at 8:20 in the morning. It says, in approximately 1994, redacted, revealed herself to redacted as a past victim of sexual by Epstein. Redacted described the abuse occurred during parties. The next section is redacted, further identifies a few other redacted names. Now, in relation to Jay-Z, it says in approximately 1996, redacted resided with redacted in redacted. An unknown man abducted her from her home when she later awoke in the presence of Harvey Weinstein and Sean Carter, stage name Jay-Z. While Weinstein had inserted his fingers into redacted, redacted believed she was in Epstein's mansion in Florida. So that is the specific reference to Jay-Z. And like you said, that's in the broadest sweep of the Epstein files. But Sean, that doesn't indicate criminality. It doesn't indicate that a criminal charge is coming against Jay-Z. It doesn't actually specifically reference any abuse committed by Jay-Z.
Wright goes even further, suggesting that Jay-Z influenced Beyoncé's life from a young age and describing what she frames as a grooming dynamic in which a powerful older figure guides a rising artist toward a predetermined path. However, there is no court case or verified evidence supporting this claim, and it remains her personal interpretation. Beyoncé met Jay-Z after she had already achieved success with Destiny's Child, and their relationship later became public, which some view as a normal progression within the entertainment industry, while others argue it raises questions worth examining more closely. Wright presents it as something carefully planned, suggesting the public love story may also reflect a broader business arrangement, while critics counter that two adults building both a personal and professional relationship does not inherently indicate control. Beyoncé's career is often cited as evidence of independence, particularly in recent years where she has taken a leading role in shaping the creative direction of her albums and tours. Yet discussions like this often gain traction in an environment where skepticism toward the entertainment industry is already high due to past scandals that revealed genuine abuses of power. As a result, even unproven claims can feel plausible to some audiences, especially when they align with existing distrust. Wright also extends her comments to alleged connections between Jay-Z and other industry figures, including Diddy, suggesting networks of influence where executives protect one another through secrecy, leverage, and undisclosed agreements, though these assertions remain speculative and unverified.
A DA chose to get involved and bring charges to him. off of a documentary. We get this Diddy documentary, The Reckoning, after the fact. Like, if that would have came before the fact, maybe it would have been a different outcome.
Well, I mean, my thing is, why did it come out after the trial? Right? They announced it in 2023.
Right.
A year before. Like, is nobody not paying attention to how strategically all of this stuff was put together? Like, everything was avoided. The details of Annie Kane's case alone would have been enough to convict on the S trafficking charges.
Yes.
That case alone, Annie Kane's case alone. But see, her case was already on the docket, right? And I think that's why they're using it as an excuse why she couldn't be a part of the trial or whatever the case may be, because she was a minor. She was moved around, without parental consent, from Michigan to New York. Like, there's evidence, pictures of her there. That would have been enough. And it all happened at Daddy's house, which was what? His place of business. Which means he was using his business to cover over crimes being committed. Which would have also added to what? That RICO statute, correct? Like,
yeah, man, you should have been a lawyer.
No, I really shouldn't have been, because I wouldn't have gotten to work. I would have got fired, because apparently allegedly, being a lawyer in this day and age means finding a way to get rich people off and not justice for those who deserve it.
These are serious claims, and once again, they are not supported by verified public evidence. Still, they tap into a broader fear many people have about powerful networks operating behind the scenes. Wright also references those widely discussed files mentioned in media conversations, suggesting that certain names circulate in whispers long before they ever appear in headlines. However, it's important to separate speculation from fact, as no official documents confirm the more extreme claims she links to Jay-Z or Beyoncé. In the absence of clear evidence, public perception is often shaped by imagination, filling in the gaps left by uncertainty. Online creators then repeat and expand on these narratives, adding new details with each retelling, and over time repetition can make a story feel more credible than it actually is. That is how these narratives grow, driven more by emotion and circulation than by verified evidence. Wright positions herself as someone exposing a hidden system, with supporters viewing her as a truth teller and critics seeing her as contributing to misinformation, leaving the public ultimately divided and uncertain about what to believe.
Jay-Z's inclusion and what we should take from it, which you've said is pretty much like nothing at all. But I want to say that this was taken then to another level by Nicki Minaj, who is, you and I know, one of the most successful female rappers of all time, and a former fan and collaborator of Jay-Z. So yeah, Nicki has long looked up to you, Jay-Z. She released an album called The Pink Print, which is a direct reference to his album, The Blueprint. Like you say there, she's talking about if she hadn't signed with Lil Wayne to be on the YMCMB label, she'd have signed with Jay-Z. She's done songs with Beyoncé, on and on and on, which is why it's really quite confusing for people who are just casual observers of this, that she posted a shot of Jay-Z with Aaliyah, the R&B singer, with the caption #ChildPredator. Now, this did actually come amidst a flurry of other tweets, some of which where she was making fun of Lizzo's body. Sean, you've got that one, don't you?
I do.
Quote, please.
Not getting canceled. This is like reading mean tweets, but reading the tweet out, going with the glasses here. That way it shows. Fat Lizzo lost 300 pounds just to sell 300 albums. So now she has loose skin and a flop album and a weird charge. Sheesh.
So she tweeted that about Lizzo. Interesting thing for Nicki Minaj to tweet, seeing as she's always been sort of a mouthpiece for body positivity.
Body positivity. She is the cult of inconsistency, hypocrisy on some of these tweets based upon who she is and her history, but I'm sure we'll get into that as well.
I mean, I want to fact check that first of all. Lizzo is not facing any criminal charges. You don't get charges with a civil trial. So, it's an incorrect thing to say. I'm assuming she's referring to the civil lawsuit filed by 3 former backup dancers of Lizzo who allege they were subject to harassment. Some of those claims are that Lizzo pressured one of her backup dancers, to touch the breast of a dancer in a nightclub in Amsterdam. Other incidents cited in the case include claims that dancers were asked to eat fruit from the naked bodies of club workers. Lizzo has denied multiple times all the allegations, saying, "I am not settling. I'll be fighting every single claim until the truth is out."
One reason these claims spread so quickly is that many people already have doubts about how the entertainment industry operates, and past cases where powerful figures were exposed after years of silence make new accusations feel plausible by comparison. Wright leans into that environment to reinforce her message, speaking with confidence and suggesting insider knowledge while describing broader patterns of exploitation and linking them to specific individuals. However, general concerns about an industry do not amount to evidence against particular people, and broad trends cannot be used to prove specific allegations.
Yeah.
So, Jag, with Jay-Z and his situation, as far as the early Jay-Z, you see him with Aaliyah Young, of course, goes to Dame Dash next. You see him with Foxy Brown. You see the maturation of Beyonce and him getting with Beyonce. You see Rihanna at a young age. Is it more so, and you were young as a singer, is it more so that, when you're in this industry, men are going to most likely talk and date their peers? And it's just that technically all the new rising stars at that time
are babies.
Were just young women, just young kids.
Babies. Being ran around by grown men. Babies. I got offered my first record deal when I was 13 years old. I got offered another one when I was 15. I'm so grateful that my father said no. I ended up not signing a record deal until I was in my early 20s. And as young as that is, looking back now, at least I was a legal adult. Most of these girls, they get moved around and touched around very early on. And, and the people that have control of everything are untouchable. So how do you argue with that? How do you argue with that? Imagine a teenage girl in an office alone with someone that says either you're going to sign this contract or you're going to go out the window. Like, even as a joke, that's not cool. With no lawyer there to look over the contract. No one. Just you and this adult. You're not even a citizen of the country you're in.
Yeah, you said your father stepped in. Do you put a lot of blame on the parents of artists who aren't there in the rooms where...
No disrespect, but parents who turn their kids over to this industry, yeah, nah. I don't want to seem judgmental, but they seem to be more concerned with the wealth that comes along with and the privilege that comes along with than what's actually going to happen to their child. And it's funny because a lot of them, they're just in absolute complete denial. They don't even want to believe, that they signed their kids up for this. Oh, well, no, they promised me this and they promised me that. Yeah, strangers.
It's possible for an industry to have genuine problems without assuming every high-profile couple is involved in them. Beyoncé is often described as private, focused, and strategic, and because she rarely gives personal interviews, that level of privacy can sometimes fuel speculation. When public figures stay quiet, people may interpret it as secrecy, even though silence can also be a legal or carefully considered strategic decision. Representatives for Jay-Z and Beyoncé have previously denied similar accusations and described them as false, and in one instance, a broadcaster even issued an apology after repeating unverified claims, highlighting how serious the spread of such allegations can be. In the digital age, viral clips can shape public perception before facts are confirmed, and once doubt takes hold, it can be difficult to fully reverse.
Is known for saying some crazy things on Twitter, but the tweets about Jay-Z are brimful of criminal allegations, claiming he's a child predator without the use of the word allegedly, but also that he's been, quote, sacrificing children as a way of gaining and maintaining power, close quote. She also said, quote, the guy was hugging and humping on teens in broad daylight, close quote. Once again, we asked Alex Spiro, Jay-Z's lawyer, for a response to Nicki's allegations, and we've heard nothing back. Now, a listener question is coming from Sophie from London. Hi, Sophie. Thank you for the question. On TikTok, it says, surely Jay-Z should be filing a defamation lawsuit expeditiously, in all caps, if this is false. The allegations are so bad. Sean, explain that, but also why his inclusion in the Epstein files kind of helps Nicki out in this case.
Given the fact that Nicki is in the rap game, she knows that you can take things to a different level if they're intended to be satirical, if they're intended to be entertainment value. That changes, however, if you are taking it to a level and you are saying that I am alleging that this stuff is true and I know it to be a fact. How do we know Nicki knows about this? I told you about the 2022 lawsuit. She knows if you call somebody a criminal, you can say something about it if you're alleging criminal activity. Where the Epstein file makes it slightly different is because his inclusion in the Epstein file, even though, as we've talked about, doesn't really mean anything, it gives Nicki a little more pause with the community to say, you know, he's in the Epstein file and everybody else thought that there might have been something into it. It might give her a little more leeway to make this leap. Where she could be helped would be where we always talk about is the damages element. Where are the actual damages that he has occurred because his name is in the Epstein file? And if you do a simple search, people are talking trash about him.
That is interesting. Then if he sued her for defamation, she could say, well, I didn't say something, present something as truth that I knew to be false because I saw this document. I had a genuine belief that this was the truth. So then it adds credence to that defense against a defamation lawsuit from Jay-Z.
It is also important to recognize Beyoncé's independence. Many fans argue that framing her as controlled undermines her achievements, as she has built one of the most successful careers in music history, founded production companies, directed her own visuals, and taken an active role in major business decisions. From that perspective, reducing her career to manipulation without evidence can feel unfair. At the same time, Wright argues that control in the industry is often more subtle than it appears, suggesting it can operate in ways that are not always immediately visible on the surface.
But even that thought process alone, when you hear that story about a 13-year-old girl to go sit on a grown man's lap to be sent by your aunt, what do you take from that story? Like, is that something that just happens in hoods all around America?
Yeah, that's something. It definitely happens in the industry. And, you know, my thing is as far as that whole Sparkle situation is concerned, everyone knew what his pedigree was with young girls. Everyone. That situation with that little girl happened after the Aaliyah scandal.
Yeah.
Why would you tell your niece to do that? You know how he is with young girls. Everyone who was around already knew about, you know, his fetish for hanging out at McDonald's after school hours. Even the people that went to the, you know, people from Kenwood, everyone knew. Why would you tell your niece to go sit on that? Like, why?
It's almost as if you know he likes that. It's almost as if you know that's what he likes.
Everyone knew. She knew. Like I said, the situation with her niece happened after Aaliyah. Everyone, the whole country knew he was into young girls. Did we not? Did we not? She came after Aaliyah. And the part that bothers me the most is I saw that tape. And guess where I saw it? In a recording studio. Like, they passed this
Yeah, that was crazy. When you look back at it, that's, they were selling that on the streets of,
They were selling it on the streets. They were selling it everywhere. But the first place that I saw it or even heard about it was in a recording studio. Musicians were passing this shit. Producers were passing this shit before it became hot on the streets. What does that tell you about the industry as a whole? These behaviors are encouraged and rooted for. I feel sorry for her. I do. I hate the fact that her aunt pushed her into the lap of a predator, that her parents decided that rather than getting justice for her.
She suggests that it does not always appear obvious, arguing that control can take the form of contracts, obligations, and long-term agreements. This idea resonates with some people because artists have previously spoken about restrictive deals in the industry, but there is an important distinction between discussing general structural issues and making specific allegations about a particular relationship. Online, that line often becomes blurred, especially when emotionally charged claims spread faster than measured explanations, since social media tends to amplify the most sensational narratives while quieter context rarely gains the same attention. Wright's storytelling is personal and intense, and she presents herself as someone with no personal agenda, which leads some to find her more credible, while others remain skeptical of her motives. Ultimately, without clear supporting evidence, public opinion stays divided, and an opinion on its own cannot establish such serious accusations as fact.
Think about it. Look at Diddy's trial. Diddy's trial in itself is enough to make people who are anonymous and hiding their identity from all of this stuff. That right there, it just says it. Period. Do not come forward because there's going to be no justice. They're going to get slaps on the wrist. Like we were talking about Epstein, and when he got charged, slap on the wrist.
Yeah. Yeah, no, when you say it like that, someone coming out, facing their accuser, looking for justice, and that justice is only 50 months in a camp, may come back out to the access to the money that he already had. You're right. It's a maybe. And there's a level of fear there. Like, Cassie, who was already in the forefront, she herself probably doesn't want to, live in the same world that Diddy walks around free in. No, definitely understandable. Definitely understandable. So, all right, well, let's get right to it then.
And then you got all the other pressure, all the other pressure that people ain't talking about, so.
All right, this list, man, there's some names that came on this list, and what I'd like to do is we're just gonna say some names and just give me your thoughts of like just the people just being on this list. And the most surprising one I saw that just made me say like, what is the genius, or what they call a genius, Stephen Hawking. Technically in all forms of the word a cripple, being pictured on these files with women, with Epstein. Let's just start with that alone. To see Stephen Hawking, who, the world-renowned genius, I guess you could say, Uh, uh,
They get horny too.
damn.
The handicap gets horny too.
Yeah.
They got fantasies too.
Hey.
I told y'all
Hey.
about that weirdo stuff, that nugget porn. I told y'all about that, the amputees making dirty movies. Yeah. Handicapped people, geniuses, all alike. I mean, the truth is most of these, upper echelon big thinkers are weirdos and have weird tastes. And usually because of who they are, they get passed over in normal social, environment. So why not go somewhere where you can get a handicap?
And Elon Musk. Elon Musk is, rumored to be on the list himself. And he himself is, he's a billionaire, but also he has, I forgot what they call it, but I don't know if it's a sign of autism or whatever part of the spectrum it's on, but he's part of that. He's, and I don't know if this was when he was a billionaire or however he reached his billions, but for Elon Musk to be on the list, these are powerful men. What are your thoughts when you see that Bill high
Gates,
level of
Bill Gates got a mention too?
Oh yeah, Bill Gates is right there too.
Man.
Is it of concern that before this list came out, that the people in this power they have their hands in keeping this list, suppressed?
Yeah. Come on, man. I think we're speaking about this from a place where we're trying to make it seem like things are fair and people are just and people are decent. And rather than looking at it for what it is, the one thing that all of these files and all of these documents, and let's just be clear, we're talking about 3 million documents that have been released so far. When you release that amount of information, you're doing it to fatigue people. It's going to take people quite some time to get through all of these files, and who knows how long they're going to be available. Stuff might start go missing, things of that nature.
What we are seeing may be a tension between narrative and evidence. Jaguar Wright presents a compelling story, emotional, dramatic, and centered on the idea of hidden systems and handlers operating behind public-facing images. On the other hand, there is no verified documentation supporting these claims, no court rulings, no official reports, and no publicly confirmed evidence that substantiates them. In today's viral media landscape, stories often circulate faster than any formal investigation, with people sharing clips before checking context and linking details that may not actually be connected. References to those files add further intrigue, but even repeated rumors are still not proof, and repetition alone can make unverified ideas feel increasingly believable over time. This reflects both the power and the risk of the digital age, where reputations can shift quickly and trust can be damaged in moments. Whether Wright is viewed as exposing hidden truths or promoting speculation largely depends on the audience, but what remains clear is that while her statements have sparked broader conversations about fame, power, and control, they remain claims rather than confirmed facts in the absence of supporting evidence.
Situation, like there's so many intersections between Epstein and Diddy that we're not even paying attention to. And people who were regulars in the Epstein crew. Like, I'm still shocked that there's nothing about Naomi Campbell really coming forward yet. I'm surprised. I'm like bitterly surprised. Her time.
Yeah, they said her name was on the list like the most as far as like flight records.
Yeah.
She was on a lot of flights.
A lot of flights.
You mentioned
also Diddy's ex-girlfriend.
Hey.
Isn't that funny? What a small world.
There you go. Do you feel Epstein took himself out, or that something else more nefarious happened? I ask that because looking at some of these things that did come out, I've seen men commit suicide for much less. So do you feel personally that it was Epstein's own doing, or something else happened there?
I mean, if we're going to talk about hypotheticals and stuff like that, what makes, who's to say he's dead?
Oh. Hey. Okay.
No, I mean,
okay.
No,
you ain't.
I'm just saying, let's just be honest here. If we want to, play around with a few ideas, let's think about it. Let's think about it quickly, and just use quick common sense. He was in a jail cell when he allegedly took his own life. He allegedly hung himself upside his bed, and with all of the footage that they have of him, the moment and the point where he actually did it is missing. They have all of the footage of everything else in prison. He's being monitored, and there's a minute just missing. Why?
No,
Why would that be missing?
No, you're right. Plus,
what would be the point to redact that one part? If it's evidence that he took his own life, then why is that part missing? Like, it's the stupid stuff. I mean, did he take his own life? Should he have taken it? Could he wanted it? Yeah, he could have. Could somebody else have done it? Yeah. Is he even dead? Who knows? Like, I think holding these files, as long as they've held these files with all of the information that's in it, has made it very clear that the people that are at the head of all of this can do whatever they want and make people believe whatever they want.
In the end, this is not just a story about Jaguar Wright, Jay-Z, or Beyoncé, but about how modern audiences respond to allegations in the digital age. Today, a single interview clip can reach millions within hours, with strong claims spreading rapidly while doubt and speculation circulate just as quickly. Wright believes she is revealing something hidden, with supporters praising her courage and critics warning that her statements are harmful, while the individuals at the center of the discussion continue their careers, making music, running businesses, and appearing publicly without addressing every rumor. References to powerful connections and those files add intrigue, but drama alone is not evidence. No matter how compelling claims may sound, they still require verification through documentation, sworn testimony, or legal findings, and without that, they remain unproven. Ultimately, the question becomes how we engage with such information, whether we accept sensational narratives at face value or pause to wait for verified facts before forming conclusions. And if you enjoyed this discussion, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe for more content, and until next time, stay informed and take care.